guys.
Same. See you.
So day one, how did it go?
Great.
What did you see out of the guys, and what did you kind of put them through for first practice of the season?
I mean, I saw an eager to get out on the basketball court. I saw a competitive nature, and I saw an attention to detail about where we are and where we're trying to go.
What's different in your approach this time around? Maybe some of the first words that you said to the guys when you organized to get the practice going?
And I think it's important to do it through collaboration. And what we've done here over the last year has been very successful. And so sticking to what the guys are comfortable with is the most important thing.
Coach, is there with sorting out all the confusion, for lack of a better word, you guys are the defending Eastern Conference champions. Do you use that as character, stature, or how do you look at that going into?
We talked about today that every team has the same record right now. And we're actually not the defending conference champions because the season's over. And we have to start over again. And we have to develop a process. We have to develop an identity. So I think it's more about that than it is where we were. It's where we're going and how we're going to get there.
You talk a lot about keeping things the same from last year. Are you talking more system, roles? Like what specifically are you kind of referring to there?
I think just the overall structure. I think my goal is to make sure the guys are comfortable. And so as a staff in the past, we've done a great job of doing that. And so if I can collaborate with them on how we're going to go about making them comfortable and then deciding together, where we need to evolve on both ends of the floor is kind of what's going to help us, create our identity.
And what's been the difficulty of having Rob out to start this camp, and how is that kind of forcing you guys to adjust?
I mean, I don't think it's difficult. I think it's an opportunity for someone else to grow and get better. And so that when he does come back, we have more depth.
How was the demeanor of the guys here on the court?
It was great. They're great players. They're great people.
Athletes are used to kind of turning the page very quickly on everything, game by game. Do you sense that there's maybe a lingering effect of all the news that came out this weekend? Is there a healing process, as you had mentioned?
I mean, I think that's for everybody. And everyone heals at a different pace. And so you have to be able to do both. You have to create that space for people to heal, but you have to create the space for perspective and say, we have to do this together. And I think that's important. Everybody knows whatever we're doing it together.
What about you coming in, like you drive in, you park your car, what's going through your head as you come in for the first day?
I drive a minivan, that's probably the first thing that goes through my head, and I'm not changing it. But I park in the same spot, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I think that's part of it is like, same thing I'm asking the players to do, I have to do. I gotta do my job, I gotta take it one day at a time, and I can't skip any steps either. I'm not turning in the minivan.
Did you have a choice to get a head coach spot? Or did you
No, I didn't even ask. It's not that important. What's more important is just making sure I do what I got to do to help these guys.
Yeah, I mean, you've been kind of saying you don't need to change things, put your stamp on it. Is that how did that show up in the way that you ran practice?
I thought the structure was the same, the time was the same, the template of the drills that we did was the same. It's just the communication might be a little bit different. But like I said, as much as these guys can be comfortable, it's going to help us.
And how different is it instead of you're taking your one station and running your specific thing to your group, that you're the one kind of walking around with the scene?
Yeah, I tried to end today's just being on the court with the guys because that's something that I miss and something that I want to be able to do. So there are moments where I'm walking around like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? But for the most part, I love being out there with the guys, and they're great guys, and that's where I find my joy, and that's where I want them to get theirs.
You said the communication is a little bit different. What is your way of communicating throughout a practice?
Ime is probably calmer. I'm a little bit more of a just mover around. I'm more naturally just, like to move around a lot. So I like to, that's it.
Guys had a lot of concerns, a lot of questions, players yesterday in terms of just how things went down. You've talked about developing trust with these guys. I know once you go to basketball, it probably just becomes basketball, but what's kind of the communication steps to easing everybody's concern, making everybody comfortable now on the team?
Yeah, patience. You gotta be patient. I can't ask them to do anything that they're not ready to do, and perspective. You have to have those two things I think are important.
If you were to look at the season 6 months from now, without getting too deep, do you have a timeline that you think you might have where you really turn the page? Because we're not going to keep asking the same questions, but when you go on the road, other media are going to ask you, do you have like a timeline they're going to say, okay, this is it, now let's go forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll know that when it comes. I think you just have to play that by how our players are doing, how our staff is doing, and just kind of how the organization is doing.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joe.